Greetings, my darlings, and welcome to the wonderful month of October, as well as yet another installation of AJ and B's Movie Exchange. This month, AJ has given me the opportunity to review a bunch of Vincent Price movies, and, well, Vincent Price, twist my arm a little bit harder, why don't you, AJ? So, without further ado, I'm going to review William Castle's 1958 version of House on Haunted Hill, which, of course, stars Vincent Price, and you don't need to know anything else about it. So, well, that's not entirely true. So, the point of the story is this. Vincent Price stars as a super mean, super wealthy millionaire, of course, and he invites a bunch of total strangers to spend the night in a haunted mansion, under the stipulation that they stay there all night in order to get a whole lot of money. But, of course, things don't exactly work out the way anybody planned. But even though William Malone's remake, which starred Geoffrey Rush and Famke Janssen back in 1999, could easily be said as the more superior version, it did not have Vincent Price. Vincent Price is the reason why you watched this movie. That, or rather him, as well as yet another actress, Carol Omerhart, who plays his wife, and a little bit more on those two's interaction later. This film isn't necessarily scary, okay? Well, unless you're about 5 years old and you have a very sort of weak constitution, but it's not really one of those movies that you can say, ooh, that was really, really scary, oh, and I still sleep with my lights on. It's not like that at all. William Castle was one of the masters of schlock, and I'm not trying to discredit schlock at all. Schlock has its time and its place, and it is so entertaining. So this film, it was all about gimmicks, okay? You had all these sorts of interactive elements going on in this movie, one of which being the fact that Vincent Price's character, Frederick Loren, would often break the fourth wall to speak to you as the audience. It's kind of like a very sort of silky-voiced, sinister Greek chorus thing going on. So the general gist of the movie is very straightforward. There's nothing complicated about it. But it is Vincent Price who drives the entire movie forward. He is the shining light of this movie, as well as the actress Carol Omerhart, who plays his wife, Annabelle. And these two, he's a conniving, jealous bastard. She is a gold-digging vamp. They're perfect for each other. And there are two key scenes in this movie. And here's one thing about this movie. This movie needed more interactions between these two characters because they are just so fabulous together. So, yeah, what Vincent Price is trying to do is he is essentially trying to get rid of his wife, but his wife is far smarter than his other wives. There's been an insinuation in the movie that he's either had them killed or they've gone missing. So she basically wants the money and she is trying her hardest to stay like 1 or 2 steps in front of him. And their conversations together are my favourite parts of the movie. They're just so snipey and snippy and bitchy and cruel, but at the same time it is so charming because Price and Omerhart are just like having the times of their lives with the characters. She's like being all subtle and, you know, very, oh darling, I'll give you that impression and that sort of thing. And he's like, oh yes, I'm onto you. I'm onto you, my dear. It is perfect melodrama, and you can say what you like about the rest of the visual effects in this movie, and yeah, they are kind of crap, but that is where the charm of this movie comes from. It is so kitschy, it is so corny and cheesy, but you can't help but love it. Everybody else in the movie is fine, I suppose, but in all honesty, you are not going to remember them. You're going to remember Price and Omerhart in their roles, and for very good reason. Although there are a couple of really sort of interesting moments in this movie, namely of which includes an acid pit in the basement of the house. But this film is all about, you know, trying to thrill the audience. Audiences back in the 1950s, well, I'm not going to call them stupid because that's just mean, but around about this time, like, horror was still a very sort of, interesting sort of ground here. And what William Castle did is that he found various ways to incorporate the audience into the movie. He would put things under their chairs and make them sort of reach down, or else, you know, there'd be a sudden loud bang in the cinema thanks to an usher or something like that. And that's what I really like about this movie. It's not scary at all, but it's inclusive. It feels like a lovely, fluffy good time. And even though the word fluffy is more or less attributed to, you know, romantic comedies and, you know, stuff by such and such, I don't care. The whole sensation of House on Haunted Hill is just one of pure fun. This is not the sort of movie that you're going to remember in like 10 years' time as anything particularly admirable, but it is hardly offensive, even though in this movie you can really see like at what time this was made, because there is so much sexism going on in this movie. One of which being, there's a younger female character who is a typist, and she believes that she sees a ghost in the in the house, and she's hysterical, and she's genuinely frightened. And another male character who happens to be a medical doctor, he says, "Oh my god, darling, you're hysterical, would you like a sedative?" I'm just, wow. The sexism would be so insulting if it wasn't so retroactively hilarious. But in saying that, I give House on Haunted Hill a 3 out of 5. It's silly, it's dumb, it's kind of culturally insensitive and insulting, but you know what? With Vincent Price and Cal Omerhart exchanging verbal barbs with each other, you just can't help but have a really, really good time with it. So yeah, that was my very short review of House on Haunted Hill, and I hope you will join me once again for yet another Vincent Price movie. And I think you're going to like it. Bye bye for now.